Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Jenna Iadarola, and she's a certified integrative nutrition health coach at Seed to Soul Healing. I'm extremely excited to be able to have this conversation. Judging from what we talked about beforehand, it's going to be a very great conversation, and I'm sure that you're going to like it as the person watching. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jenna.
Of course, my pleasure.
Excellent. Before we get started, if you, the viewers, watching this from any location outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you, because inside it's a mastermind where we come together and support each other every day. So if that is what you've been missing in your life, I just want to personally invite you to come click the link either above or below and join us inside. Now, Jenna, what was life like before you got into coaching and mentoring, and really what was the catalyst that brought you into the field?
Yeah, so I've had quite a life journey. So I would say before I realized that I wanted to go into health coaching, my personal health journey is pretty rocky. So when I was 17, I was diagnosed with anorexia. I was going through some hard things at the time, and that just became one of the things that I used to cope. And there's a lot of stigma with the illness, and what I can say it has absolutely nothing to do with the food. It has to do with a sense of control, and it truly became my world, living with my eating disorder. And my health very quickly declined. I started to lose any sight of what true health was. I used food as a sense of control, hyper vigilant about calories and, the clean eating trend. I really fell into that as a sense of controlling my life when I didn't have control of other things happening around me. And so it took a lot of treatment, support of loved ones. And, after probably about 5 years, I, slowly started to find a sense of what health was. And I had to learn that through trial and error over years. And for me, that's, my perspective on health is a bit different than the average person. I know many health coaches focus on weight loss, and for me that's not really the focus. For me it was weight gain towards the beginning, and now it's not about weight at all. It's about learning to listen to my body's natural my natural hunger cues and intuitive eating, and letting myself have what I want. And so then the cravings start going away. For me that took many years to really finally find a balance. And once I started to find that, I realized that I had some insight that I wanted to give to other young women that might be experiencing what I went through with, eating disorders and having really poor body image. So I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. That is where I did my training for health coaching, and I knew very quickly that the population I wanted to work with was with young women suffering from disordered eating. So yeah, that was the path to health coaching for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. I'm really glad that you're there to really kind of help other people who are in a similar situation, because that's a super, super big issue, especially when everybody's always talking about losing weight. Now, can you talk a little more about what intuitive eating is? I've heard that a few times, but I've never really had someone who could explain it to me. So can you please just give us some insight into what that means, what that looks like, and how we can start implementing that for ourselves?
Of course. So I will say first off that intuitive eating as a lifestyle is not possible or accessible for every person. There are some people that have underlying issues, like someone that may be a type 1 diabetic. They need to very vigilantly log their carbohydrates. There are some people that have other hormonal issues where they just don't have the ability to just listen to their body's hunger cues, because they have other underlying health issues that prevent that. For the average person that doesn't have those kinds of health barriers, intuitive eating is genuinely learning to listen to what your body needs, what your mind may need, and learning to build discernment between, you know, what is best for you in the moment. So understanding cravings, understanding if you are feeling really stressed and you feel like binging on a bunch of sugary foods, learning that doing that is just covering up the emotion that you may not want to deal with in the present moment. So it will, for me, it took a lot of therapy to be able to learn to not use food or a lack of food in order to cover up whatever feelings I was experiencing in the moment. Some people therapy is not for them. I always suggest, if you haven't tried it, like, give it a go, because it'll help not only to you know, accept whatever feelings or past trauma that you want to, you know, face. It'll also help you you know, learn to reflect instead of react. And a lot of people use food as a form of reacting to their emotions, whether it's binging or restricting or dieting. A lot of women are chronic dieters, and they use it as an answer to some kind of life issue that may not even be food related.
Hmm. Yeah. You know, can you talk about like right now, we're in a kind of time of quarantine, so a lot of people, you know, might be either more emotional or more stressed out than usual. Can you talk about maybe some things they can do if they don't have access to a therapist at this very second? You know, some things to do to kind of get back to a baseline or find more peace in these, you know, anxious times.
Yeah. Um, I'm privileged in the fact that quarantine hasn't affected my work, because as a mental health worker, I'm considered an essential employee. So I've been able to work through the duration of the quarantine. Um, but I have had many friends that have been doing a lot more sitting around at home, whether they started working from home or they lost their job. And a lot of them said they felt stuck. They felt like they were just laying around in their house all the time. And you know, for me, whenever I feel like I'm stuck in the house too much and I may not have the ability to go out, like COVID is causing a lot of people to, you know, stay inside, is finding a type of movement that you love. Like physically moving helps me get out of my head. Running is my meditation. Running isn't for everybody, but I love running outside. um, I feel like being outside in the fresh air really helps me, not only to just like move around that stagnant energy if I'm like inside all day, but it also helps me get out of my head. If I'm stressed out and I'm overthinking, I have a very overactive mind. For me, running helps get me out of my head and into my body, and I'm able to focus 100% on the movement and like stop those racing thoughts. So for me, physically moving just like helps me to stop like overthinking, which happens when I'm sitting around.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, yeah, because like it's funny, you know, some people, they really like being alone and having this kind of time, and they're like, yes, it's the best thing ever. There are other people, you know, they love being active and talking to people and going out and just going to different events and stuff. So it's interesting to see just such a big dichotomy between what people are going through. And you know,
Introverts are definitely like dealing with the quarantine better than extroverts. I am lucky that I'm more introverted, so it's like I don't rely on being around, you know, like social events or like going to parties all the time, or being like you know, a really like bustling community to, you know, get my energy. For extroverts, I'd imagine it's a lot harder for them right now.
yeah, it's well, I guess it's yeah, because now they're starting to try and do like the quarantine parties and stuff, and like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's crazy what's going on. But you know, just looking towards the future, you know, what does life look like for you, or what's your vision for your life? You know, as far down the road as you like to think or talk about.
Yeah. So I would like to start to grow my coaching business a little bit more. It is, I will admit, it is hard working, working full time and working in the field that I do, it's mentally taxing. I do have to prioritize self-care in the field that I work in, because it is oftentimes making sure that you're not taking on the pain of clients, which is pretty easy to do in our field. And I do see in the future putting more energy towards, growing my coaching business, so that I can slowly step away from working so much in the mental health field, because it is pretty taxing. And I think, there are things like, like HIPAA laws, and having to always like make sure that, you're keeping clients' information confidential. In the capacity of working in a mental health facility, it can be pretty exhausting. And I think putting more energy towards my coaching business would give me more freedom, and I'd be able to, separate myself from my work a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be coming home and taking on so much.
Yeah, that's a great point. And just thinking about like goals and like freedom, what does the word success mean to you?
To me, success is being able to, being financially abundant, being able to work from wherever I choose. I love traveling, and I see myself thriving when I'm able to work from wherever in the world. It's hard with COVID right now, being able to travel, but I'd love to grow my coaching business where I can work virtually with clients, so I can travel and still be maintaining income.
Where's the first place you want to travel when this is over?
Oh gosh, probably Germany. I'm learning German right now. I have family in Germany, and it was my mom's first language, so I would love to visit some family there. And I've also never been to Europe in general, so that's first, for sure.
An interesting off-topic question. So if your mom's first language is German, right? Do you think, is it easier for you to start learning German because maybe your mom spoke some German to you when you were younger or something?
I think the accent it's easy for me to understand, like hearing it and speaking it. I feel like I picked up pretty quickly. Yeah, so just hearing it around the house and my grandparents speaking it, I think was helpful.
Nice. Yeah, because I was like, wow, that's cool. That's like, wow, that's probably really fast. Excellent. Hey, I really appreciate you sharing your story and really just helping us out, because right now messages just like yours are really needed. So I'm really glad that we were able to have this conversation today.
Yeah, no, me too, and I really appreciate you holding this for me.
Oh, yeah. Also, are you working on anything new? Do you have any coaching spots or a coaching program that you'd like to tell us about, or?
Right now, I haven't released it yet, but I am designing like a self-love program, self-love body image program. It's still in the works. I just started it actually, but I am designing an ebook for young women. It'll involve intuitive eating, um, how to create healthy body image, and how to work on minimizing like disordered eating patterns. So that's in the works right now.
Nice. Where can people go to learn more about you? Where can they go to connect with you further?
I'm on Instagram. My health coaching Insta is at Seed to Soul Healing. And if you want to shoot me an email, it's seedtosoulhealing@gmail.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Once again, just thank you for your time. Really appreciate the value you're able to give today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. For those watching, we thoroughly hope that you found this valuable. And once again, if you're looking for a place where people are improving themselves and helping others do the same, I recommend you go check out our free community by clicking the links either above or below the video. And hopefully you found this enjoyable and, you really enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Now, feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you in the next episode. And we're done in 3 and 2 and